Hi, I'm Jenny with Garden Gate Magazine, and today I'm going to plant up a wire frame hanging basket. Now, I've had this for a few years, so I'm going to need to line it because the old liner is deteriorated. So I like to use a coir basket or coconut fiber, and they're pre-molded, and I've soaked this overnight so it'll fold into this very nice and easily. Otherwise, they're kind of stiff. So, but if you soak it in a little water, bucket of water overnight, you can get a nice fit for your shape. This one's a little bit big, but that's okay. I like it to be a little bit over the top of that lip, so that, because if it comes down below the lip, you lose soil off the top of your basket. So I like to have that just a little bit over the top. Okay, so I've got my basket all ready to go, and I'm going to put some soil in it. But first things first, I'm going to put a little bit of granular fertilizer in here, about a cupful, or capful I should say. Mix that in. That's a slow release fertilizer. It'll release a little bit as you water all through the season. And get that all mixed up, and then I can start filling my basket. And you'll notice I've got it sitting on top of this little pot. That's to keep my basket from rolling around when I'm working on it. Now, a 5-gallon bucket will do the same thing, or any kind of other container that you might have that will sit just right in the bottom of it. Now, if I wanted to, I could line this coir lining with a little bit of plastic, like a plastic garbage bag, and poke some holes in it. That'll hold a little bit more moisture. So you don't have to water quite as often, but the holes poked in it will allow for some drainage. In this case, I tend to be an overwaterer, so I'm going to be watering those hanging baskets on a pretty regular basis. So I'm going to skip that step today. Next up is some plants. I started with this really pretty petunia. It was really interesting color with the white with a little bit of chartreuse. So, and this is Ray Pistachio Cream. So I'm going to use that kind of as the main plant that I'm working with here. And so I'm going to slide that in. I'm going to kind of put it on one side since I have a grouping of other plants. Pack it in. I'm going to add some soil around the base of that. Okay, and I'm going to kind of pull it through so it'll cascade down in between those rungs of that basket. And then the fun starts about what I want to put with it. I kind of went a little bit monochromatic, so I'm going to use this Verbena, but I'll probably put that on the other side so that I have some of that apple green kind of on both sides. This is Lanai Green Apple. Now if they're kind of root bound a little bit, I might tease out those roots. And I'll pack in some soil on the outside. If I've got a couple little folds of that liner, that's okay. They will mold to the shape of the potting mix there. Okay. And I'm gonna go a little bit of white next. Oops, got some dirt on it. This is Whirlwind White Scaevola, or fanflower. And I like this because it kind of cascades out a little bit. And it'll probably fill in a lot more of the basket than as opposed to trailing down. I'll put that in the front here. I'm going to aim some of those branches back into the container. And now for some trailers. I've got this nice little sedum. This is lemon coral sedum. And you can see it has a little bit of a yellow bloom, so that's going to pick up some yellow in here and make it kind of fun. I'm going to set this over next to that petunia. That way some of that yellow, when this is looking just a little bit monochromatic, why we got some yellow in there with it. That chartreuse will brighten things up. And last, I'm going to go with Let's see. Oh, I might put a couple more in there. I like this Medusa Green sweet potato vine. And this is kind of a very scalloped foliage, but it'll trail straight down and be really pretty and nice and full. I'm gonna go back around to the side here and set that between my fanflower. Okay. And lastly, I got a little bit of Lantana. And this one's white, but I like how its buds tend to be a little bit chartreuse. And it'll be a little bit more upright than some of the other flowers. It'll still trail, but that way I get a little bit of height in my container too. And I'm going to tuck that right in here. And I'm going to lean more towards the center on this. And then I'm going to pull a little bit of this sedum out around that wire. So it'll kind of aim it in a couple of directions there. Okay, I'm going to pat everything in, and I want that soil to be a little bit, maybe about an inch below the level of the coir there. So that way, when I water, it won't wash all the soil clear out. It'll just sort of catch right there on that lip of that coir liner. And I'll water that in. It's going to be pretty heavy, but I've got a good sturdy support to hang it on, and we'll get it hung up, and it'll be great all summer.